The night didn't feel dangerous at first. It felt loud. Music poured out of the house like smoke from a burning building, thick and suffocating, vibrating through the street before we even stepped inside. Colored lights flickered against the walls, red and blue and purple, like warning signals no one wanted to read. Laughter burst out in pieces too loud, too careless, like people laughing at jokes that weren't funny anymore. I stood outside for a moment, hands in my pockets, watching my friends push the door open as if they owned the night. "Come on," Arif said, turning back to me with a grin. "Don't act like an old man. Tonight is about freedom. Freedom." That word would haunt me later. Inside, the air was heavy with perfume, alcohol, and lies. The floor was sticky, the kind that clung to your shoes as if it didn't want to let you leave. Bodies moved without rhythm, without meaning, just motion for the sake of forgetting. These were my friends. Or at least that's what I used to call them. They were loud, confident, admired. The kind of men who knew how to talk, how to charm, how to smile just enough to make people trust them. They dressed well, laughed easily, and carried secrets like trophies. I didn't know it then, but that night would show me something ugly. Cheating wasn't a mistake for them, it was a lifestyle. Arif disappeared within minutes, already flirting with a girl who was clearly not single. I saw the hesitation in her eyes, the weak resistance, and the practiced reassurance in his voice. "Relax," he said smoothly. "It's just a party." I watched as the lie wrapped itself around her like a warm blanket. Behind me, Samir laughed loudly, showing someone photos on his phone. I caught a glimpse screenshots of conversations, hearts and promises sent to different women with the same copied words. "You send this same message to everyone?" someone asked. Samir shrugged proudly. "Why waste time rewriting the truth?" They laughed. I didn't. As the night deepened, so did the dishonesty. Married me with one hand while his other arm rested and flirted openly. Engaged men danced too closely. Promises were broken before midnight even arrived. One of my friends, Bilal, leaned toward me with a drink in his hand. "Bro, you're too quiet. Go talk to someone." "I'm fine," I said. He smirked. "That's why you're boring. Loyalty won't get you memories." I wanted to argue. Instead, I watched. I watched Arif lie to a girl about being single. I watched Samir promise love he never intended to give. I watched Bilal convince a drunk woman that betrayal was just human nature. And the worst part, they were proud. Every successful deception earned cheers. Every phone number collected was celebrated. Every boundary crossed was treated like victory. At one point, Arif pulled me aside. "Don't judge us," he said, lowering his voice. "Everyone cheats. Some just get better at hiding it." That sentence landed inside me like a crack in glass. Because deep down, I knew he was wrong. And I knew that if I stayed silent, I would become like them. Near midnight, I stepped outside for air. The music faded behind me, replaced by the quiet honesty of the night sky. My phone buzzed messages from people who trusted me, who believed in friendship, who believed in loyalty. I looked back at the door. That party wasn't just a party. It was a mirror. And for the first time, I saw my friends clearly. Not as brothers, not as companions, but as the biggest cheaters I had ever known. And that night was only the beginning. When I walked back inside, nothing had changed, yet everything felt different. The same music thumped through the walls, the same laughter burst out in careless waves, the same drinks were poured without counting. But now I wasn't just inside a party. I was inside a world where conscience was a weakness and cheating was a skill. My friends gathered near the kitchen like predators resting between hunts. Arif was telling a story, his hands moving dramatically. "So I told her I was scared of commitment," he said, laughing. That made her want me more. Samir shook his head in admiration. "Classic. Girls love emotional damage. They laughed again. I felt something twist inside my chest, not anger yet, but disappointment so heavy it pressed against my ribs. Don't you ever feel bad? I asked quietly. The laughter stopped. For a moment they stared at me as if I'd spoken a foreign language. Bad? Bilal repeated. For what? For lying, I said. For hurting people, Samir scoffed. Bro, no one gets hurt if they don't know. That sentence revealed everything. They didn't believe cheating was wrong. They believed getting caught was wrong. Arif leaned closer to me, lowering his voice. Listen, you're too emotional. This is how the world works. Loyalty is for people who are afraid to lose. I wanted to tell him that loyalty was courage, not fear. But words failed me. Across the room, I saw a girl crying quietly near the stairs. No one noticed. Or worse, no one cared. A guy had clearly promised her something, and vanished moments later, probably chasing another thrill. I realized then that this wasn't just about my friends. This was about a culture of deception, where cheating wasn't an accident, it was entertainment. People weren't people here. They were options. I stood there, surrounded by faces I'd known for years, and felt completely alone. Part 3, Games of Deceit. The game started after midnight. Someone suggested a drinking challenge. Another turned it into a truth or dare game. But truth never stood a chance in that room. Dare, Arif said confidently. I dare you to text your girlfriend that you miss her. Someone laughed. Arif didn't hesitate. He typed the message with one hand while his other arm rested around a girl, who wasn't his girlfriend. Message sent. Cheers erupted. That was when I understood something terrifying. Cheating had become a performance. Samir's phone buzzed nonstop. Different names. Different photos. Same lies. I love how they all think they're special, he said, scrolling. That's the secret, make everyone feel chosen. I asked him, what happens when they find out? He smiled calmly. They cry. I move on. No guilt. No shame. No humanity. Later, Bilal pulled me aside again. You know what your problem is? He said. You still believe people deserve honesty. His words stung because they were true. As the night dragged on, I witnessed things I wish I could forget. Promises made only to be broken within minutes. Trust shattered for temporary pleasure. People reduced to trophies and screenshots. At one point, a married man bragged openly about his affairs. Another man laughed about how he cheated during his engagement week. And the room applauded them. That was the moment something inside me broke. I wasn't better than them because I was smarter or pure. I was better because I still cared. I stepped away, sitting alone on the balcony. The cold air cut through the noise, clearing my head. Below me, the city slept peacefully, unaware of the damage happening inside that house. I thought about trust, about love, about how easy it was to destroy something that took years to build. And I made a silent promise to myself. I would never become like them, even if it meant walking alone.